Voice TV.
Hello viewers, you're most welcome to yet another episode of Soaring with Eagles. We are live on all our manifest platforms and we are also live on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and please tell a friend to tune in. My name is Pastor Joy Ninsiima and today it is my honor to introduce a remarkable woman of influence and service, Canon Suzan Muhwezi, the Senior Presidential Advisor, Chairlady of the Uganda Hotel Owners Association, Board Member of Private Sector Foundation, and Honorary Wildlife Officer. A respected leader in tourism, business, conservation, and national development. Canon Suzan Muhwezi continues to inspire many through her dedication, vision, and impact. Personally, she is a God-fearing married wife and mother of 7 children. Please join me in welcoming Canon Mrs. Suzan Muhwezi. You are most welcome to this show.
Thank you very much, Joy. It's a pleasure to be here.
Many people know the public figure, but who is Suzan Muhwezi behind the titles?
The titles are from God, but first and foremost, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, and I'm a woman of faith. Those are the roles that matter to me most. Public service and business, not to say that and titles are not important, but they only become meaningful when you are grounded in values, in humility, and service to others. And that's what I am.
Please pass on our congratulations to your husband, who was appointed as the Minister of Security in this new cabinet.
Through prayer, and through support as a wife, but most importantly, I was on my knees for him. And I give all the glory and all the honor to God. And I thank the president for trusting him yet again. And I believe he will serve the people of Uganda and serve the president with humility and honesty and integrity.
What experiences in your childhood shaped the woman you became?
I was raised in an environment where discipline, integrity, education, and respect for others were taken seriously. We were taught by our parents, both my father and my mother, that integrity is something you carry with you everywhere. And we were grounded through prayer. They prayed for us. And praying parents, sometimes we move on those prayers even when we ourselves don't probably know God at that time. So my mother was, my dad died at 70, which I think, and before that he had been sick for a while. But we had a very strong mother, loving mother, who was there for us, who educated us, who was responsible and made sure we got married, was there when our children were born. And he was a great influence in my life. And, you know, when you're born of 2 parents, you pick one and this and that from. Our father was very much focused on education. He wanted all of us to, you know, you came home and the first thing he asked you is, where is your report? And what he looked for at that time was not, he didn't start with what you scored in the different subjects, but if they wrote that you were well behaved. And I think I did score a bit more on that than my 2 brothers.
So did you always know you'd become a leader and an entrepreneur?
No.
Where did that start from?
I think to be an entrepreneur was mainly through what my mother did. My mother had a shop in Barara. She was a businesswoman, and we were engaged in that. But I think the person who took that most is Bob than us. And my father was a civil servant. So I didn't know that I would be a leader, but I knew that I would make a difference in the world. And I wanted to do that in whichever position I was in, whether as a mother, whether as, because even at home you lead, you know. So I really knew I wanted, it came with the station in life, at what point and what position I was in. And I also think my father was a revolutionary. We always say that about him, because he didn't put a difference between me being a girl. I was the only girl among his two boys, but he treated us equally. And when I see women empowerment now, I knew he started it long ago before it became a household thing. Because even in his will, he bequeathed me land, which was very rare.
Oh, the ladies are not usually
given land,
or
cows or what, and he never asked for bride price when I was getting married. He just put me at equal footing with my brothers, and me being the firstborn, he always consulted me. So that helped in building in me qualities of a leader.
Okay. So what were some of the defining moments that changed the direction of your life? Was there a direction of your life that you just took a trajectory in a different?
No, of course, when I got married.
Uh-huh.
I got married. I had just finished university, I did my university in Nairobi.
Yes.
And I had just finished university, and I came back and met this young, handsome man called Jim Muhwezi, a soldier.
Yes,
They had just come they liberated the country in 86. And you can't believe I got married in 87 May.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Quickly.
That was that quickly. And in the meantime, I had always promised myself I could never marry a soldier because of what we had seen with the army. But you plan this, but God has your plan. So I ended up marrying a soldier, and I had to think, what am I going to do? And no sooner had I married him than the president gave me a job. He had come visiting our district in Rukunjiri, and he appointed me as a special presidential speech writer. You know, I worked for a few years with him in the literary department, but then I was always pregnant, going out to have children. So I asked him to leave, and then I decided, we didn't even have a lot of money, but I knew that I have to work. So I borrowed a land title from my mom, and I put it in Uganda Commercial Bank. Actually, Jim had gone for a course in Moscow. And then from there, I started business. I was trading, bringing produce and supplying posho, and any kind of business I did it, you know. Then that's how I entered business. But I had always had a passion for tourism. And many times when we were driving to up country, we would stop at Ajip Motel.
Actually, I saw. So there was an original owner too.
Yeah, it belonged to Ajip, to the petrol station. Yes. And I would always tell Jim, I wish I could buy this little hotel, you know, but we didn't have enough money. But I would stop. And sometimes what you wish for finally happens if you pray about it. So I looked at Uganda as a very beautiful country. And I thought there's so much undone that we could do.
So what values have guided you consistently throughout your journey?
I think the values that have guided me is that everything you do in life, even when no one is looking, God is looking. So I have always believed that you should do good, you should not hurt anyone, and you should make a difference, however small. I always tell people, our house help at home, that someone who sweeps the streets should sweep them so well that anyone who passes through the streets asks who swept the streets. So wherever God has put you, try and make a difference. Try and put in all the effort. And finally, God will reward you. It might take long, but you'll finally be rewarded. And that has been my guiding principle, to make a difference, to love people, to love my family, and to love myself. Because if you don't love yourself, you can't love others. Yeah. Yeah. And what do I mean by loving yourself? It's not being selfish or doing, but to make sure, because they say even cleanliness is next to godliness.
I remember a time I visited your home and there was a spirit of excellence.
Thank you. I'm humbled by that. Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful home.
I remember when we first moved to our home, things were broken, woods were broken. And I remember there were wooden floor tiles, but I would scrub them using paraffin and polish them myself. And I always tell young people, even now when they see us, that we didn't start like that. There's a process, there's growth. So sometimes you find people come to you and think this is how you are.
They expect
to be like that at a stroke of a pen, at an entry into a marriage, at an entry into a business, at an entry into an office, and I guess the president and the first lady are a good example, because if you've read their books, if you've seen the journey they have traveled, they were not this. The first lady was talking of when she was making jam in Tanzania.
Yes.
Sometimes we need to read people's stories to be inspired, to know that you just don't get to the top that quickly.
And that's why I started Soaring with Eagles Show, because I wanted people to know that there's a process to them ending up being very successful. It's because when they see people like you, very highly placed, they imagine that they can get there very quickly. And yet there's a process that they have to go through.
And then they sometimes brand you wrongly. Yes, they don't know the struggles you have gone through. They just imagine that because either your husband is in government. So many people thought I was not educated because I'm married to Jim. They didn't even know I had a degree or a master's, because you're not going to go waving your paper, and it really doesn't matter. But people should know that there's a process, there's growth, and that once you trust God, He will get you where you want to be, or where He wants you to be.
You have played a major role in Uganda's hospitality and tourism sector. What first attracted you to that industry?
But from childhood, I loved traveling. Like when you're young, either some people are dreaming or I used to tell Jim that when I used to read Barbara Cartland, I would imagine I would have my car with my husband and 2 children, one in the back, one a boy and a girl. And then life doesn't turn up like that. But what I know, I used to wish to travel the world. And I can say I have done it quite a bit. And I've been to many countries, and I've loved many countries. When I arrive in a country, I'll go on a tour bus to this day and tour and visit sites, historical sites, anything that I've read that is exciting. Sometimes my husband, when we travel together, he doesn't want to go looking at things. He say, just can't go on a tour bus to look at countries and cities. But I would do that. But every time I came, I said, but Uganda is beautiful. And it's so virgin and it's so untapped. So I took a lot of interest in my country. And that really attracted me to be very passionate about tourism and marketing destination Uganda. And then the people, the culture, the food. Think about it. Many countries, we have everything that we need. The hospitality. Ugandans are generally warm and happy people. you ask a Ugandan for direction, they will take you to where you are going. You don't find that everywhere. They're willing to give you time and talk. So I thought there are many opportunities in this country to grow our country, to attract investors, to market destination Uganda. And I was privileged. I've served on Uganda Tourism Board before it was as it is now, many years ago, when Kamya was, the late Kamya was the chairman of the board. We were traveling almost with nothing to promote Uganda. And then a few years ago, I served on the board for 6 years, for 2 terms. And that gave me a proper insight of what needs to be done to promote destination Uganda.
So what are some of the biggest lessons you have learned as a woman in leadership?
There are so many lessons I have learned as being a woman in leadership. One is that we have to work twice as hard to prove ourselves. You know, I must appreciate the president who has promoted women to positions of leadership. I learned that competence and consistency speaks louder than noise. That's something I learned. Sometimes being a woman, you think I'll be hard if I'm loud and what. And I sometimes would find myself also trying to do that. But when that's not me, and that's not what a Christian life is about. God will pick you up. He will take you to where He needs you to be. He will elevate you in positions that you never expected. And also I learned that women should not apologize for being ambitious, intelligent, or visionary. No, it's a given right from God. But the important thing that women should do, which we don't do sometimes, is to uplift each other. You find that we compete destructively. There's a spirit of competition that is healthy, that we can all do. It's more aspiration rather than envy. But when you look at men, they might disagree, but it will end there. And we won't be able as women to do that unless we have the grace of God in us. Yeah. So that's all I can say. We have to work twice as hard, but also we have to learn the art of uplifting each other in the different positions we are, and not be scared that, having a lot of insecurity.
Uganda's tourism industry is potential, it's enormous. And I know that you travel a lot. So what do you believe still holds the sector back?
I think the government, and in particular the president, has done a lot in promoting Destination Uganda. And now, as you know, it's among the 4 sectors that are in NDP 4. But still, we have infrastructure development, the tourism roads to deal with. We have the high interest rates in the banks. We, as Uganda Hotel Owners Association, we are the voice of the private sector. And we have been lobbying government to have a harmonized tax policy. I also think we need to market Uganda aggressively and preserve our environment carefully. So those are the major things I could think of. But also remember, tourism depends so much on sustainability. And Uganda is rich in its resources. We have an abundance of natural resources, human resources. We should neither be wanton or wasteful with our wealth. I think so. We also need stronger collaboration between government and the private sector, so that they listen to us, but we also listen to them. We power into them, but they need also to power into us. because you cannot milk a cow that you are not feeding. So if they overtax us, you know, especially I speak for my sector, the hospitality sector, we have a lot to do in the service industry, you know, training, especially training the youth. As you know, the hospitality industry employs a lot of youth and women, but we need to do proper training in the services. We are now attracting people here for MICE. AFCON is coming here 2027, but we need to be ready. We need more hotels, more chain hotels. We need good lodges in our national parks. We need to build up the concessions that Uganda Wildlife Authority gives to us. So we need a holistic approach. And I think the recent Powate was a good example. It was a very, very successful tourism trade show. Very, very successful. We were lucky to be graced by His Excellency the President. That gave a stamp, the tourism. And the youth need to engage in it. There's a lot of opportunity for the youth, for the farmers, because it's everybody's business.
How do you make difficult decisions under pressure?
I inquire of the Lord. Remember David?
Yes.
David, the man after God's heart. Every time he inquired of the Lord, he was successful. Every time he went to God and asked him, how should I proceed? He was successful. The only time he didn't, you know what happened. Yeah. So it's a lesson I have learned over time, and it has produced results.
So we need to go into a break right now. So viewers, we'll be right back after this break.
Hello, my name is Joy, representing BIK Capital Limited. We are an investment company licensed by the Capital Markets Authority of Uganda. We deal in local and regional treasury bills and bonds, ETFs, selected regional and international equities. We are located along the Gogo Bypass at Murembe Business Center. With that, we shall be available on the ground for the Migrate Price Conference on the 13th of June 2026. We shall be showcasing our different investment options such as bonds, equities, treasury bills from as low as 100,000 Ugandan shillings. See you there.
Manifest TV, Christ revealed.
Imagine if you could earn money in your sleep, or if money grew on trees. This can be you. Whether you're a parent who needs to save for fees, a circle looking to earn even more from their savings, or a business owner who wants to increase their capital quickly and safely, it's easier than you think. With Britam Easy Earner, you can earn competitive interest rates on your cash deposits in a period of 3, 6, or 12 months. Simply subscribe and watch your money grow. Call us on 0312 305 600 or email clientservicesug@britam.com for more information from our trusted experts. Britam Easy Earner. Britam is licensed and regulated by the Capital Markets Authority of Uganda.
Must watch on Manifest TV.
Praise the Lord, ladies. Women of Faith Season 4 is here, and it is bigger and better than before.
We are talking about you having had a walk with God, seen the fruit of it, and you know you carry things in the inside of you that can be passed to someone to better their lives.
We have some incredible panelists for you this year. We're going to touch some incredible conversations, such as the courageous conversation, the integrity factor, the first mission field, and the legacy of influence.
With your children, what do you teach them from home, from the time they are born? So you have to choose the words to speak, when to speak. When you go through a challenge as a family, how you handled it will show them how to do it when you're no longer there.
The more you listen to your husband, the wiser you become. You are improved wholesomely. And when the time comes for you to be heard, your voice will be loud, your influence will be loud. But it starts from firstly grounding yourself, to always listen. Don't be always quick to criticize your head trying to speak to you, because again, you don't want to kill that voice of counsel over your life. I believe that's a beauty tip for all of us to learn from. Yes, it is.
We will be live on Manifest Television every Friday at 8 p.m. with repeats every Monday at the same time.
Manifest TV. Christ revealed.
Hello viewers, welcome back from the break. You're still watching Soaring with Eagles. Please tell a friend to tune in. We are live on all our Manifest platforms and we are live on YouTube. My guest today is Canon Mrs. Suzan Muhwezi. So Canon, Suzan, you carry the title Canon. How important has faith been in your journey?
I think faith has been very central to everything in my life. But it's not like I had it all along. Just Jesus discovered me when I was in the world, sometimes not knowing where to cling. So, and since he discovered me, of course, there are moments in my life where education, experience, and connections, you'd find that they are not enough. And that's when God really carries you through. And how I became a Canon in a very funny way. First of all, it's not like I wanted the title Canon. I'm a Canon in our church in Rukunjiri. And it's the time of Bishop Muhima. But I asked him why. When he said, oh, we've chosen you among the 12 canons. I was like, no, I don't want to be a canon. I don't want to be put on a pedestal and be judged. I'm actually not of that level. I'm not of that level. Canons are old people who have served the church for many years. Canons is my mother. I was like, no, I don't want it. And then I said, but why? Why did you choose me? Because I was not even in the main cathedral in Chinyasano. And then he told me that lay canons are supposed to advise the bishop, and if they see anything that's not going right in church. And the major purpose why he had chosen me is because he found me honest. It's something we were discussing with him, and without my knowledge that he picked on it. You know, sometimes how you take bishops, you can't say this is not right, this is... I aired my views, and I think it touched his heart that I could speak honestly, truthfully, defend something that no one was willing to defend. And I think that's what he told me, that he best choosing me to be a canon on. The fact that I could speak truthfully, but yet humbly, to a man like a bishop. And then as I was busy refusing that title, because I did for a while, I said, let me think about it, let me pray about it. I was like, really, no, I'm going to be judged. You know, you don't do this, you have your hair, you know, all these worldly judgments that... Then I went and told my mom, who was at home, I said, you can't believe what has happened. The Bishop of Rukunjiri has called me and said, of North Kigezi Diocese, that he wants to make me a canon, and I have said no. My mother kept quiet. Said, you said no? I said, yeah. He said, but you receive worldly titles every day, and you love them. Said, actually, Actually, I'm happy that you said no. Because if you said yes, then I would have doubted if you deserved it. Then I said, but I'll go and think about it. I've promised the bishop. When I can't understand anything, I just open my Bible like this. Yes. And the first thing I read is what I believe, that God has spoken. And that day God said, the cornerstone, that the stone that was rejected was made the cornerstone. I said, maybe I feel I'm rejected by the world. I'm rejected by my own spirit, but God wants to make me a cornerstone. Maybe God is looking for me to give me that title that can make me now seek for him and seek him out. And I think since that title, I've been trying to find my way with him. In prayer, in my prayer life, in my faith, to grow my faith, because it's not like you have faith and it's permanent. Sometimes you have it, sometimes it's away. So I know my life is a testimony of answered prayer, maybe from my mother.
Have there been moments when your faith carried you through difficult seasons? And are you willing to share?
Yes, many times. Every person goes through seasons of uncertainty, disappointment, or pain. And I've had those many seasons. You get married and you're hoping that it's Barbara Catland, you know, that it's love ever after, but you get tried. But in all those, I've been tried in my marriage. I've been tried, I've lost my parents. I've been tried recently. We lost our nephew. Yes. Sorry. There's been many trials in our family, but it's at those times that God shows up for us most. And I've had good mentors in my life. You know, people, I talked to you about Bishop Orombi. He was very much there for me during hard times. Mama Janet, the First Lady, not because she's a First Lady, but she's someone I could call a woman of God, a woman of faith, who's, she gave me a Bible about women of God when I was going through a very rough time in my married life. And she mentored me and taught me how to be a godly woman. I did disagree with her at times because I thought that's weakness.
Yes.
You know,
you wanted to have it your way.
Yeah, but you know, there was my mother, there was my aunties, you know, women who have walked the journey with God and have gone through hard times. But I believe that as a Christian, you're not exempt from suffering. Then where would or temptation, then where would your testimony come from if you didn't suffer or you didn't get tempted? Exactly. You know, the difference comes in when the battle is won. And it's that time that I really give glory to God, because he assures us that you will be delivered, and he truly delivers you when you least expect it, as long as you wait on his deliverance. Sometimes you don't know when it's going to come. And during such moments, as you were asking me how faith has carried me, it's given me strength when human strength wouldn't have been sufficient. He has sustained me through every chapter of my life. And I hope to write a book.
You should.
Mm-hmm.
You should.
Actually,
you should.
Yeah, because yes. I've been in the eye of the storm, in politics,
yes.
in the eye of the storm in marriage, in the eye of the storm as I raise children, but his grace has been sufficient.
What does purpose mean to you personally? And is it important for people who are watching you right now to have a purpose for their lives?
I think purpose to me means understanding that life Your life is not only about yourself. I think to me that's what purpose means to me. That is, God designed and mapped your purpose for you long before you were conceived. I may not always be 100% purposeful in my every action, but I know that God put me here for a reason, and that in due time, if I continue to serve Him, serve His mankind, uplift people, help others, and leave this society better than I found it. One time I had the privilege, the president put me in charge of looking after TD Jakes when he visited the country. It's an honor that I will never forget. Yeah, and like a man you've seen on television, and you can't believe you are now in the same car driving with him. So I asked him that, what word can he tell me as TD Jakes, Pastor TD Jakes? He said, when you leave this earth, just make sure that when you leave this earth, you've put a smile on someone's face, on a child's face. And it always stays at the back of my mind. When I'm tired or people are asking me for help, and even me, I'm struggling, say maybe today this one might make someone smile, and I would have fulfilled that purpose. So I believe it's understanding that your purpose is not only about yourself. And also, your family gives you a lot of purpose, your children, see them grow, yeah.
In today's world, do you think leaders are losing moral grounding?
You could say in some cases, but we are living in a world that sometimes, increasingly, I would say, celebrates visibility of our values, that rewards performance more than sincerity. That's the world we are living in. But I also believe that leadership without moral grounding is dangerous. Integrity must remain the foundation of our leadership, within politics, within business, or ministry.
So many women today struggle to balance family, career, and personal growth. How have you managed yours?
I think balancing is not perfection. There's no balance. It's not perfection. There are seasons when one area demands more attention than the other. What matters to me is intentionality and support systems for whatever I'm doing. And definitely, my family comes first. Something I value, because I know it requires presence. It requires your presence. I remember, and in my job that I was doing as for the president, I remember one time I was in the US and there was visa in Turi, and everyone was like, you can't leave when the head of state is here. And I said, let me go and ask him. And he said, you can go, because he too values family. So I have learned the importance of prioritizing what truly matters to me, to my family, to my work, and in that order. And it hasn't let me down. At the end of my days, what will matter most when the trappings of social expectations and human impetus has fallen away? What remains with you? Your family. Your God and family. And like I told you in one of the questions I was answering, once you inquire of God, I didn't know that word and I'm now obsessed with it, inquiring of God. I was reading what David used to do, inquiring of God. He will guide you how to prioritize what you are working on.
What has marriage taught you about partnership and leadership?
I'm not a very good, I don't know how to cover up things. I'm very bad at that. But marriage has broken me down. I used to tell my husband, I can't forgive you. And I would say it with so much pride.
I can't forgive you.
I can't forgive you. But marriage has taught me humility, patience, teamwork, and sacrifice. I'm one of Jim's greatest cheerleader in this country. There are those who vote him.
Even during that time when you could not forgive him?
No. No, but somehow I always fought for him. I always protected. I always protected him. I think you even know those moments.
Yes.
I was everywhere. I have never not been with Jim. So I believe a strong marriage requires mutual respect and shared values. And with whatever else could have gone wrong, he did respect me.
Yes, he did.
He did. He might have fallen short, like people do. But also you have to know that leadership at home is just as important as leadership in public. You have to make sure he's the head and not the tail. He's above and not beneath. And you have to give him that respect if you truly believe that and when you know God, then you begin to know that you entered not only a covenant with him, your husband, but with God. And that puts you now at another level. Then you are more than just yourself, you know. And then when children come in, your marriage has a purpose too, you know. And when you grow together, it becomes beautiful every day. I look back and I'm glad I stayed. Yeah, that's all I can say. And also you have to know that sometimes family is what builds communities, what builds governments. They are all modeled on the family unit. And there's when you can't stay. So I'm also not judgmental for the people that didn't stay. There's when you can't stay. When someone is abusive, you know, beating you or what, then you shouldn't stay.
That's true.
Well, I mean, you can't put your life at risk. Or when you feel scared or fearful of your spouse. I'm sorry, I don't advocate for, but if the person can't know God, then you can't die in marriage, because I think even in the Bible, it's stated cases where you can have a divorce. And like I told you, I'm not a very judgmental person on anyone. I believe all I ask is that people get to know God like I did. But otherwise, I believe everyone has reasons why they do certain things.
What advice would you give to young women who aspire to leadership? They're looking at you, they admire the success that you have achieved in your life.
Invest in your education, believe in yourself, maintain integrity. Do not wait for permission to pursue your dreams. Inquire of God. But also remember that success without character is totally empty. And seek counsel from those that have come before you. I sought a lot of counsel. And from your peers. But most importantly, listen to that voice, that soft voice, which some call conscience. That voice is from God and Jesus. Listen to that voice. It will be a guiding factor. But pursue your dreams. I did pursue mine. And I so far, at 65 years, I'm very unapologetic about it. And I believe I have not stepped on anybody's toe to get where I am. I appreciate how far I have gone. I appreciate my parents. I appreciate anybody that has held my hand. I told you, including my house help, because without them, some things wouldn't be like they are. I appreciate people, my brothers. We are a very, very tight unit. And we pull each other up during good times, during bad times. And we are bigger than even we think. We're a big family of relatives, of friends. And I've had people along the way that have counseled me, that have stood by me, that have walked the journey with me, the tough journey, even of politics. Yeah, so people who were there for me, and I don't take them for granted. Yeah.
What legacy do you want your children and future generations to remember about you?
I hope my children and future generations will remember me as a woman who loved deeply, worked honestly, helped others rise, and who was faithful to her God. That's how I would like to be remembered. Yeah.
So I know that you're going to write a book, and many will learn from that, your story. And for generations to come, they'll be able to know Canon Suzan Muhwezi. So we've come to the end of the show. And before we close, I would like you to give your parting shots.
Uganda's greatest strength is in its people, especially the youth. We as Ugandans, we are energetic, we are resilient, we are creative, and there's a lot of entrepreneurship in our people. So I call upon you, all the youth, the women, the young, that we can make a difference in our country. We can have an impact. If we inquire the Lord of God what we can do as each one of us and contribute that little that each one of us can, we can make our land beautiful. Our country can have an impact not only in this country, but worldwide. My last word, whatever you do, make sure you make a difference. Make sure you uplift someone. Make sure you put a smile on someone's face. Make sure you are a laborer for God's harvest. God bless you.
So thank you so much for taking time to come and share your story with thousands and thousands of people that will be watching this show. So viewers, I would like to thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, may the Lord bless you, expand your territories and borders, lay his hand upon you, and keep you far away from evil. Bye-bye.
Manifest TV.